Singapore, where he found so many professionals working. And when he asked them, he said, "What do you do?" And everybody said, "We do India business sitting in Singapore, sir." His question to them was, "Why can't you be in India to do India business?" And they all said, foreign exchange law and tax law have actually exported all of us outside India. Now, if you imagine these two problem statements as to you want to do India international business, but the foreign exchange law and the tax law were not conducive for you to practice them freely in India. That's why probably many times we say in our office that the two cities that India has actually built outside of India is Singapore and Dubai. If you really bring out the India business from them, suddenly you find they will struggle for business. They are having so much of India opportunities there by changing regulation, by changing tax law and making it more conducive to operate there. Now you imagine this problem statement from the perspective of what India can do. India can do the same international business sitting in India, but solving the FAMA and tax law issues within GIFT. If you do that, you don't need Singapore, you don't need Dubai, you don't need Mauritius to do international business for India from those locations. And that's what we present today to all of you, that this is what problem statement we are trying to solve when you are here in GIFT. And that was the vision of the Honorable Chief Minister, who is now the Prime Minister, that I want Indian businesses and Indian professionals to remain in India rather than going outside and serving India. And this is where the GIFT City as a birth happened for creating an international financial center. But it got birth from two perspectives. First, to create a city. I know all of you would imagine that in our lifespan, normally we never see a new city coming up. And this is, post-independence, we have seen Chandigarh and probably Gandhinagar. Only two cities which have come up from after independence as a new city. And to some extent now we can say Navi Mumbai is also a new development in terms of an extension of a new city. But rarely you will find in your life that a new city comes up in front of you. And GIFT City probably is one such opportunity that it is creating India's first smart city, as probably in the next 2 days you are going to explore the city infrastructure, the city regulations, the city new opportunities. You will see how a new city is being built. It's a planned city, creating new environment and creating new opportunities, not only from infrastructure but also from a regulation perspective. And that's where you see this is a new city development from both. When you come in GIFT City, you have two zones, the domestic zone and the SEZ. Where we are sitting right now is a special economic zone. Probably we all are aware, as a chartered accountant you are aware that there are maybe 300, 350 plus SEZs in India. But there is only one SEZ in India which has been notified as an international financial services center where you are sitting today. So this is the only center across India notified as an IFSCA, as an offshore center. Under FEMA, SEZ are not outside India. Only the IFSC in this zone is an outside India under FEMA, which provides a unique positioning for it to operate. And then as you can see from the slide, that the city provides you all three components: commercial development, social and residential, all at one place. And I understand that the officials from GIFT company are going to present to you about the GIFT City development. So you will be able to understand this much more in detail when they present. I think this will be an important slide for all of you from the perspective of as a professional, because this is what, as I said, the problem statement for us. We went from GIFT, from India to all the locations, and probably many of you in this room probably handle many of your clients and you took them to Dubai, Singapore, Mauritius, probably where not, in terms of Cayman Island, US. So somebody wanted funds, you said let's go to Mauritius, create an entity in Mauritius, do India investments. Somebody wanted ship, you took them to Dubai, you said go to Dubai and give ships on lease to India. So you created this structures with a simple agenda that the tax treaty, or as we call the treaty shopping, was at the highest in the initial years. That you took them from there, if you do business, there are no tax on you, and so you created so many entities outside India for them. And from there, they are doing India business. And what now changes with GIFT is actually you don't need any of those centers outside for India business. You can be in gift to do all businesses that you see on the screen now. This is the new as we said, new opportunity, new change coming into the IFSC from this zone. What government did? Government created a separate unified regulator and also combining the powers of all four regulators. So whether it is RBI, SEBI, IRDA, PFRDA, all regulatory powers of the IFSC zone now is vesting with one single unified regulator, which is the International Financial Services Center Authority. So we have, as an IFSC, this is a standalone. It has all the regulatory and licensing and supervision power which a regulator has for entity to operate from the IFSC zone. And from a journey perspective, I think we started in 2013 as the first building in GIFT, but we have reached in 2020-25 where you have almost 30 plus regulations, we have almost 15 plus frameworks, and we have 1,000 plus registrations given in the IFSC zone as we speak. This again, I think from a professional chartered accountant perspective is very important to understand. This is now India has two systems. You have domestic India and you have an international India. What does an international financial center give you? You can imagine that you under FEMA you are non-resident, as we discussed. You can transact in any convertible 15 foreign currency when you are in India. Only currency in which you cannot transact is Indian rupee. So when you are in an IFSC zone, you cannot invoice someone in Indian rupee. This is probably a very important aspect you should understand. You should not advise someone to come to do business here for Indian rupee, saying that there are tax exemptions. There is no tax exemption for doing India rupee business. In fact, you are not allowed to do India rupee business sitting in IFSC zone. So there is no tax arbitrage that a firm in Ahmedabad will shift into GIFT and start taking tax incentives. That is not possible. And this is probably the myth which has been there for quite some time. Everybody says गिफ्ट क्या है, गिफ्ट में जाके आप टैक्स एडवांटेज ले लो, टैक्स फ्री हो जाएंगे, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है गिफ्ट में. There is no one who can come from any part of Ahmedabad or any part of India into GIFT to take tax advantage because the currency of dealing is different. Here only currency is foreign currency 15. As I said, it can be US dollar, GBP or any other foreign currency. And on tax wise, there is tax holiday offered. We are India as far as the income tax is concerned. The IFSC zone is India. Under FEMA we are outside, under income tax we are not outside. So in the Income Tax Act, this is within the Indian Income Tax Act, but we've been given a special provision under Section 80LA, which is out of 10 years, there is no tax on the business profits that you earn in the IFSC zone. So this is a tax-free zone, no GST because of the SEZ. Permanent GST is exempted when you operate from the IFSC zone. And under the Indian law, we are India, but there are several carve-outs offered to us. So under the Indian Companies Act, 50 section of Indian Companies Act don't apply to us when you are operating in the IFSC zone. And similarly, under the several other law, there are carve-outs offered. And the last but most important, that you have now a separate regulatory mechanism. When you are in IFSC, it is only the IFSC law which applies to you. It is not the SEBI, RBI, PFRDA or IRDA law applies to you. This is a major change that you should keep in mind because I think this is how you are going to carry on to new business opportunities here. I already covered this that out of 10 years there is no tax on the business profits that you earn, there is no GST, there is no commodity transaction tax, there is no security transaction tax when you trade on the IFSC stock exchanges. And then there are reduced withholding tax of just 9% versus 15% outside. So a lot of nuances of operating in the IFSC has been created by the government now. In terms of the business regulations, what we have done is, because every business that comes in the IFSC is a regulated business. So even a professional services firm, when they come and take a license here, there is now a framework called TS, which is a TACFIN and Ancillary Service Providers Regulation. So as a chartered accountant, you can be present in GIFT and you can also avail the 10-year tax holiday under the ancillary regulations that we have. So as a professional service provider, you can also register your firm here, help chartered accountant, help the other firms coming into IFSC and bill them in dollars. And probably practice international financial services in the zone, as you can see from the regulations that you have. So you can practice under all these regulations, and you can create a regulatory advantage for firms coming in the IFSC zone. We have now almost, as I said, we have given 1,000 plus registrations, and you will ask, who are those? Who are those companies that are operating in the IFSC? This slide gives you who all are operating in here. So these are 1,000 plus registrations under several categories. It is a banking, insurance, capital market, even finance companies. You also have emerging areas like fintech, firms, globally now centers, the GCCs. We call it as the globally now centers in the IFSC zone. And then we have payment service providers. And last but not the least, we also have bookkeeping, accounting, taxation and financial crime as a separate regulation. So the earlier speaker said that accountants, we should become the accountants of IFSC. In fact, the Honorable Prime Minister, when we were presenting this, he said, why can't we become an accountants of the world? And why can't GIFT become a platform for you to become the accountants of the world? Probably can practice, do an outsourcing work to Gifcity as a tax-free under the BATF regulation. So this again is an opportunity for many of you to create a new arm in the IFSC zone under this regime that we have. And I have a last final slide on the where do we stand in terms of business. We have 1,000 plus registration, as I said. We have almost $82 billion of monthly transaction happening on the exchanges here. We have almost $94 billion of banking asset size sitting in GIFT now. You ask an Indian corporate, out of 10, 8 times, the corporate will say that now the borrowings for them are coming, ECB borrowings are coming from Gifcity, not from outside India. So most of the corporates are doing their ECB borrowing from Gifcity. Even firms like Reliance and others, they also, when they are raising their new borrowings, they are saying banks and GIFT should only participate in the RFP. So it's a new way of taking the borrowings, trade finance, everything is now mostly going from Gifcity into India in dollar terms. So for your clients, you should also probably check with them and advise them that look, this is a new opportunity. You don't pay withholding tax when you borrow from GIFT. If you borrow from outside, they pay withholding tax. So this is a new advantage, opportunity for your corporates and clients to probably borrow from Gifcity rather than from outside India. And then you can see number of fund managers, you can see debt listing on the stock exchanges, transactions in banking, and even the aircraft leasing is also happening from the Gifcity. Almost 250 assets we have leased into India from Gifcity, which was not happening in India before. And overall, you can see the transactions have scaled up very rapidly from the IFSC zone. So probably I'll end here with the number of some of the logos that you can see are already present in the IFSC zone as their transactions are growing very rapidly. But I will probably urge all of you and probably thank the team from ICI, particularly Monica ji, for her continued support for this zone. Whenever we make one phone call, your team at center, at Ahmedabad and everywhere has been so supportive for this zone. And for us, ICI has become a natural partner now in terms of all our engagements. Even if we go overseas, I think the first point of call has always been to the ICI central office saying that look, we are planning to have a roadshow in this part of the world. And your chapters outside India has also been equally supportive to us. Similarly for India, they've been always supporting us. I am sure after these 2 days of, as we call it, in our term we call it as a Chintan Shivir, that you are exploring and understanding the opportunities, there will be many of you who will be probably present here in your international presence in the Gifcity and probably take the opportunity of creating this new whole opportunity. So thank you for having me here, but I am glad that today this opportunity has been presented to all of you at the Gifcity. Thank you very much.